First of all, I'd like to thank the fans for coming out tonight on a Friday night and giving us all the support. It's we're going through some challenges here, and like I said on the radio, I don't want to make excuses, but we got we got a short bench, and we're trying to manage that as best we can to try to figure out how to win with all these challenges. And certainly this team has faced a lot of adversity and challenges thus far, and this is one that we're going to try to dissect and figure out and move on and try to learn from this. I mean, that's all you can do with a loss. I told the guys, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I got to figure out what I can do better for them, and we need to all have a heart-to-heart and start figuring out how we, I said, I questioned whether they liked each other. Sometimes in transition we're not pushing it ahead, and I think they do. It's just on the basketball floor at times it doesn't look like they do. So we gotta figure this thing out, and we will.
Questions?
Coach, it seemed like it was a lot more difficult, and I kind of asked you about this after the first, getting Jesse looks, especially in the second half, more difficult than it was in the first half. I'm guessing their zone probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, they knew in half-court man-to-man we were going to try to get him as many touches as possible, and they saw the weakness in that part of the strategy, so they went zone early and often, and I don't think we necessarily got bad shots, but we didn't knock them down. And credit to them, credit to Coach Rice and their preparation and their squad. They came in with an extreme amount of confidence, and they continue to chip and to the point where we finally broke. And credit to them and their program, and hats off.
Josh, what effect did you think their changing of defenses had? Quinn was saying too often you guys didn't get into sets quick enough, and the shot clock starts winding down. People are kind of looking around at each other, wondering what to do.
Yeah, and I keep telling the guys that each and every day we got to figure out how to play it off each other. In basketball, nothing's ever perfect in terms of the way you draw it. So a defense can take you out of something, and then you got to read off each other and get the right look or a good look. And trying to figure out how we, get that cohesive, synergy, so to speak, is something we've struggled with at times, and where we're going to have to, figure it out, sooner than later, because I guarantee you we're probably going to see a lot more 2-3 zone.
Josh, they played 12, I think, in both halves. Like second half, they really tried to speed things up on offense and make you guys move, really hit the boards hard. I don't know if that's their style, or is that something that's maybe particular to your situation that they were advantageous about? No,
that's the type of play. We knew coming into it that their bread and butter is turning people over and getting out, in the open floor, and they did exactly that. And they knew our rotational situation, and they took advantage of it, and that's just smart coaching. So they got downhill, they put pressure on us, they moved us, and I wanted to, I went 2-3 zone at one time, and we couldn't get a rebound. And as you could see on several of those possessions, we continue to struggle with defensive rebounding. I think there was 2 free throw line box outs that we missed twice in a row that's demoralizing for a coach and demoralizing for a team. And not to mention, every time we thought we were, turning the game a little bit and going down to tie it, we'd turn it over. We'd turn it over, and it would just kill our momentum whatsoever. Any momentum that we had, it would just stymie it.
Coach, the game that Xander had, sometimes guys have nights like that. I get that, and there was a lot of times their guys were in good position and the shots just went in, but there's other moments where he's just making good plays and just what did you guys do or not do?
No, I thought we had a good game plan against them, but maybe we need to. We didn't work on trapping any ball screens or anything like that, and maybe we should have. But you got to be careful with that, with getting Jesse in foul trouble, because they're always going to put him in the ball screen. So he had 30 points, but he also had 6 assists and 1 turnover. So he got other people involved too. So he wasn't taking every shot, and so he was fairly efficient. He shot 50% from the field, 50% from 3, and 9 for 10 from the line. And I hate, and I've said this before, I don't really coach free throws, but you could tell that the legs weren't there, and we weren't making those free throws. And when you miss 2 front ends of 1-and-1, I mean that's a dagger in so many ways. You work hard to score, and we're struggling to score, and you miss those front ends, and then you go to the line for 2 and you miss 2. So we got to take advantage of every opportunity we can get, and we have a very, very small margin for error, and somehow we got to figure out how we shrink that margin for error.
The other thing I wanted to ask, hustle plays, 50-50 balls, late in the game there where they missed a couple front ends and then got the offensive rebound. A lot of that's hustle kind of stuff. I'm sure there's probably a great amount of disappointment.
I'm disappointed, and they're disappointed, and I told them in the locker room we had a heart-to-heart, and everybody spoke their piece, and that's healthy. That's healthy conversations that we're having, and we got to figure out how to get on the same page. And there's going to be a lot of voices, and there's going to be a lot of critics, and those people can voice their opinion and try to break us, but we got to stay together and figure out how we get better as a coaching staff, get better as a program, be better teammates, and all the way down the line. So we're going to keep working. It's a long season. We dropped 1, and now we got to figure out how we learn from it and move on.
Last game you experienced a win, the first win. You knew you weren't going to go undefeated.
Yeah.
You got this one as a loss now. What's in your stomach now? What is it like? I mean, because in a lot of ways, as you know, talking about playing with 8 players, you've got one hand tied behind your back too.
Yeah. I don't want to look at it that way. I mean, every challenge presents an opportunity, and we're certainly saddled with a lot of challenges. So I'm not one to make excuses. I'm one to figure out a solution. So right now we're gonna go back and figure out a solution. And it's gonna eat at me. It's gonna eat at me all night, and probably for the next 2 or 3 till we can line up and play again. But there's a lot to be done between now and then.
Coach, you say you don't coach free throws. What do you mean by that?
In a lot of ways, the free throws are mental, and I felt like a lot of it had to do with fatigue. So, you can put a huge emphasis on free throws and in practice and all that, but sometimes you do yourself a disservice, and I've always kind of believed that. So you either step up to the plate and you accept the challenge of the free throw line and get over the rim, and sometimes it's fatigue, sometimes it's in your head. So I don't want to push that button too hard.
Coach, you were kind of talking about this yesterday with us, and then kind of saw it out there again tonight, where teams are backing off, sagging down, just basically daring you guys to shoot. And the second half, obviously, it didn't happen. What do you tell shooters, your shooters, after having kind of seen this kind of defense?
Just to step into it and shoot it with confidence. It's when you see them hit the front of the rim, it's a pretty telling sign. What you got going on. And I told them in there, I said, I don't know if I'm doing a disservice by being too light on you sometimes. I don't know if I'm being too hard on you in terms of practice, especially with the short rotation. So I can second guess that all night while I stare at the ceiling. But at the end of the day, we just got to figure out how we buy in and figure out a way to win.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.